A shower or thunderstorm could pop up by the afternoon. High 83, clear and 68 overnight. Currently 69 at O'Hare. Next news coming up at 7. And Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Experience the many restaurants of Seven Bridges on the evening of August 8th at the Golf Club in Woodridge, Illinois. Aside from great tastings and treats, Sample Seven Bridges will have prize drawings and DJ entertainment throughout the evening. Visit chambers630.com to register.
When you've got questions, he always has an answer. It's Sean Hannity this afternoon at 2, right before Joe Walsh at 5 on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan, and in for Amy this morning, Kristen McQuarrie, Chicago Tribune editorial board, and here's another fun story about this godforsaken state.
From the Tribune.
Oh, well, yeah. But I'll start with the Sun-Times.
Oh.
How about that? Does that hurt your feelings?
A little bit.
Mm-hmm.
What's the story?
Carrie Austin, she's a longtime 34th Ward alderman. Alderman Carrie Austin and her 6 children and stepchildren have declared bankruptcy 14 times, often while they were holding down government jobs, largely at City Hall, according to the Sun-Times report by Lauren Fitzpatrick. Mm-hmm. The bankruptcy petitions filed by Austin and by her family over the past 2 decades have sought to get them out from under debts, including federal taxes, court fees, highway tolls, and City of Chicago parking fines. One daughter's filed for bankruptcy court protection 5 times. One of her sons has 4 cases. Austin was named in a federal grand jury subpoena seeking records regarding her latest home purchase as well as campaign finances. Back in June, you remember FBI agents in their customary fashion, flak jackets donned, took files and equipment out of her Southside office. I didn't help them get anything. They got them on their own hard work, said Carrie Austin in a February 29th deposition in a lawsuit filed by a former city worker who was fired over an on-duty accident that involved her son. And then the Sun-Times goes through all of the various bankruptcy filings. 14 Carrie Austin and her 6 children and stepchildren have filed.
Yeah. Yes, for parking tickets. $2,400 owed to People's Gas. This was just one of her children. Her husband owed $13,000 in child support for a child from a previous relationship. Mm-hmm. They were both earning at the time a total of, I think, $6,800 a month. I mean,
wait for it. Carrie Austin, up until recently, was the budget committee chairman in the city council.
Yeah.
Chicago, don't go changing on me. Don't you dare change on me, Chicago. you rascals. Isn't this fun?
You know, it's just, I tweeted something about this earlier. For all the people in the city who just follow the rules and get up every day and go work at some crappy job.
Yeah. And then vote for Carrie Austin.
And pay that. Well, she rarely has an opponent. She actually has the last 2 election cycles. But who pay their parking tickets and take a bus downtown to show up at court for child custody hearings or whatever. What a slap in the face. I mean, just left and right. It just, this story, you have to read it. It just goes on and on and on about all this abuse of federal bankruptcy. Why are you rolling your eyes?
Can I get an amen? Can I get an amen out there? We love being slapped in the face in Chicago. We love this. We love being lorded over by kleptocrats. As long as their intersectional score is high, that's all that matters. As long as they're part of our clan, that's all that matters. Everybody, it's the same thing in the General Assembly. Republicans, Democrats, everybody's a good fella.
Who's not going to help out their kids, Dan?
Exactly.
She co-signs for loans throughout this too.
Sure.
I mean, it still is astounding to me that so many elected officials just carry their children and think that that's the best way to parent, is to just continue rescuing them over and over. These are her grown adult children in their 40s.
In Chicago is, over the last 40 years, number one with a bullet in the number of public officials convicted on corruption charges in the country. And will continue to be. And hey, you know what? It's just how it works in Chicago. See, it works. We work hard. We play hard. Blah, 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 blah. You know, like that idiot. What's the guy's name that did the voiceover for the CNN hagiographic ROM thing?
They liked his voice.
Yeah, this is how we got grease the wheels. Huh? A little hired truck, a little license for bribes, a little gray lore. Pick your favorite. We love it. We're not changing a thing.
31 aldermen convicted of corruption charges related to their official duties. There were others, but 31 since 1972, I think.
Yeah,
31.
we got to get back to at least one a year. Otherwise, it gets boring around here.
Oh, we're there. We just had Willie Cochran.
Yeah, I know. We'll get there.
We've got two who've had. Well, we have Alderman Ed Burke indicted. Carrie Austin's ward was searched. She has not been accused of wrongdoing.
Mm-hmm.
But they're looking at a home that she purchased. That doesn't the paperwork doesn't really match up as to perhaps what she paid for it and what she's paying taxes.
I'm sure she's innocent. I'm sure there's no
She
wrongdoing.
might be.
No,
She might be.
Of course. No,
I'm presumed innocent.
She is my better, so of course I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt. That's how we do it in Chicago. Hey, what's going on with Chance the Snapper? That's what I really am interested in. What's up with Frank Robb? How are they getting on?
Do you know what he's doing now? He is invited all over the country. He's doing weather segments.
That's great.
He's a superhero now.
Yeah, I think you should come back here and run for mayor. So all of this in Chicago is fun for us. We love it in Chicago. More. But some other Illinois residents don't like it as much. Those that live in central and southern Illinois that feel like they sort of get crowded out by Chicago in terms of opportunities and distribution of state resources and the like. And so this is not the first time there's been sort of this move, but it's afoot again. New Illinois. New Illinois movement to kick Chicago out of Illinois, let Chicago do whatever it's going to do, just collapse in the universe like a dying star or whatever it's going to do. But some of the folks outside of Chicago don't just want a Lincoln County where you can separate some of the suburbs from Cook County. They want a whole new state that doesn't include Chicago. Maybe I'd probably say, oh, yeah, I mean, this is like that. Cook County and then the other 101 counties. So Cook County would be a state, and the other 101 counties would be a state. And despite the fact that that's never going to happen, they're pursuing it. I mean, I guess there's nothing else going on in Springfield.
I feel their pain.
I get it.
These are my people.
I get it. I totally get it.
Corruption, debt strapped to them, ruling class politicians from Chicago making all the decisions about their taxes, their livelihood, their schools, the Cullertons, the Madigans. I totally get it.
You know what one problem is, though? A lot of those legislators outside of Chicago dance to the tune of those political ruling class Chicagoans you're talking about. They fall in line. There's a few. We're about to talk to one. There's a few, but not a lot. There's a lot that jump when they're told to jump and run into a wall when they're told to run into a wall. Brad Halbrook isn't one of them. He's a Republican state representative from Shelby County, and I'll give you $1 if you can find Shelby County on a map of Illinois. Yeah, you. I'm talking to you, Kristen McQuarrie.
It's right here.
That's close.
See?
I think you're pointing to Cass County on your hand.
I know my downstate.
I know you do. Brad Halbrook, state representative, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Dan and Kristen. Appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, I'm sure you like that run-up I just gave. So Brad, all right, so tell us why this is a good idea and why folks in Southern Illinois and around the state are pursuing it.
Yeah, well, it's being pursued by people all over the state, regardless, and it's basically offering a choice. Whether we can choose to be like our neighbors that are thriving, and other states across the nation that are taking to the Trump economic policies, or whether we want to continue to go down the same path of failure, the Chicago-centric approach, where Illinois is lagging behind all of our neighbors.
What is the actual pathway for this to happen? What is required? Even though
Yeah.
we know
So,
it's a long shot, but what would have to happen?
right. Yeah. So the pathway is in the U.S. Constitution under Article 4, Section 3. It really evolves into about a six-step process. It's happened four times in the history of the United States, and the most recent was West Virginia from Virginia.
Okay. What would you address? This is something my colleagues sort of raised when we were reading the story, and I think a couple of the people interviewed, do a good job of addressing it. But are you hearing a lot from people who think that there is just a racial element to this, that you don't want to be part of a more diverse Chicago?
Yeah, there's nothing racial about this issue, and it's not a partisan issue. It's just about the divide. It's about rural versus urban. Uh, that's the issue. The racial component doesn't even exist in my mind.
Well, I mean, and to that point, oh, by the way, there are mid-sized urban centers that are diverse, majority minority in some cases, East St. Louis, Rockford,
Peoria,
Peoria,
Decatur, Quad
Decatur. I mean, so
Cities.
that's the typical specious argument of the statists in this that we love. By the way, we love them all in Illinois. But I mean, a six-step process. Even if everything fell into place and you got bipartisan support on this, which unlikely, but even if that happened, how long is the process to pursue from beginning to conclusion?
Well, New California's been under a similar process. In fact, New California is patterning after what New California's done. They have nearly, if not all, of the counties organized in California under the process, and they've been at it for 3 years. They've had three constitutional conventions. They declared independence some time ago. They've read dozens of grievances against old California. So it's a long process. Step 5 in this process is Illinois General Assembly, and that's going to be a heavy lift. I think, and others agree, or I agree with them, that the pending financial collapse of the state of Illinois will drive the parties to the table to have a discussion about how this gets fixed.
Well, it's interesting you say that because, right, it's already driving Lori Lightfoot to the table. She went to Springfield looking for a pension bailout already, hasn't she?
Right, and that's it's just story after story, day after day. The mayor-elect came to the General Assembly back in the spring, and people asked her about separation, and she said it's not going to happen. Wished us the best, or wished the movement the best. She said I-80 is not a barrier, it's not a wall, it's a strip of pavement, and she mentioned about having conversations to people on the other side of I-80. We've reached out to her multiple times trying to have conversations about it because we could see what was coming. Just when we thought they were out of cans to kick down the road, they found another with this idea of punting the Chicago pension systems onto the state of Illinois, asking the residents of the state of Illinois to pay the freight on their failure.
What would you say have been maybe the 3 or 4 leading policy issues that are driving this movement? Is it the debt? Is it the pensions? Is it corruption? What do you hear most from the people who have sort of joined your movement?
Right. It's a combination of all those things. And I think when it's about the attack on the Second Amendment, it's attack on life, it's the sanctuary state status, it's the corruption, it's the debt, it's, people say, well, under a new Illinois, you're going to have higher taxes. Well, guess what? As a result of what happened this spring, the gas tax doubled and 20 other tax and fees are going up. So we're already seeing that happen, and people are tired of it. They're fed up with it. We see a double standard when it comes to how we do entertainment at state fairs. They canceled the band at the DuQuoin State Fair under the name of Confederate Railroad, but yet the Snoop Dogg Act continues to play in Springfield. and they have the picture of a sitting president